Hello everyone, and welcome back to Archeage 101. My name is Jalan, and I lead the Paradox Guild on the Sulphura server. So if you're on Sulphura and you need anything, feel free to message me in-game or send me an in-game mail. Out of game, you can head over to our webpage at www.paradoxgaming.net, or you can send us an email at the address below. Next up in our Archeage 101 series is Part 5, Tips for Gold Making. I know Archeage seems like a daunting game when it comes to accumulating gold, especially for that first month when you have to accumulate gold for Patron. In today's episode, I'm going to teach you how to use the Euro servers to make gold, how to get Patron for that first month, and then how to keep Patron. For anybody in EU that's currently watching, this works equally well coming back over to the NA servers. In fact, it works a little bit better because the NA Apex prices are a little cheaper than the ones you find in Europe. Now, I know a lot of people were hoping that I would do a video that would just give them the ability to make as much gold as they wanted. The problem with that is I can't do a video that teaches you how to make gold because before I finished cutting the video, it would already be outdated because everyone that can see these YouTube videos would start doing it. In the past, I've shared a few things to do to make gold, and by the time I share it with just one or two people, and they've shared it with one or two people, and then those people have shared it, I started to struggle just to make enough gold for myself. So what I'm going to teach you is some stuff to help you make gold. I'm not going to just say, do this, get gold. I'm going to show you some of the things you need to know. This video is going to involve some basic economics. Don't worry, I am certified to teach economics, so you're not just getting some internet guy's opinion, you're actually getting a prepared lesson plan. So the first part of this is that you have to understand how the labor pools, loyalty pools, and credit pool work. As you see on the screen, the NA region and the EU region, I'm pretending like I've purchased an Apex on both of those servers. When I use the Apex on either server, I get 1,250 credits. That will go into my credit pool. The credit pool is shared between all regions, all servers, all characters. The labor pools are separate. So I can log on to EU on a Saturday morning and just run around for an hour, mining every node I see. And then when I log on to my North American main, I still have my full labor pool. This is how most people accomplish patroning their accounts over and over and over, but still making good progress on their gear in their main region. Now, brace yourself for the hard part. Getting that first month of Patron is very, very difficult. The first month is going to be the worst month. If you listen to the other videos in the Archeage 101 series, I said if you're really enjoying Archeage, it's really beneficial to just pay for your first month of Patron with cash. Drink 3 less Starbucks that month, go out to 1 less lunch, whatever you need to do to have the extra $15. But I understand that for a number of people, there's just no $15 in your budget. And I don't want you to feel like a second-class citizen in Archeage, even though a lot of people try to make you feel that way. So really, getting that Patron for the first month, beg, borrow, steal, whatever you need to do to get it. A couple of ideas for you that I'm going to leave you with to help you get started through that first month is that leave your computer on. If you can leave your account logged in overnight, leave your computer on, but leave both your North American and your European account logged in at the same time. You're allowed to dual box on the same computer, so you can have both accounts open. If you're high enough level to farm there, I highly recommend farming Whale Song and Ages. Not only will you be helping your server send those regions into war, but the coin purses and crates there will make you a lot of gold. A test run I did today, 1K labor generated roughly 400 gold. If you get Aurorian metal crate drops there, don't open them. Sell those on the auction house. You can get a lot of money from a winning box, but more often than not, you're going to get a losing box. So in my opinion, if I got 10 chests and I could sell them for 250 gold total, I would rather do that than run the risk of getting maybe 20 gold worth of mats. And if you farm there long enough and you do combine the 200 acid, 200 armor shard items, that's going to set you up with Patron for quite a long time. If you'll remember, I told people that they want to find a guild early on. Working with a guildmate to process their mats can work really well for you. If you're able to stay logged in and you just accumulate labor and you stick to just one thing, remember when I talked about labor, you want to be doing one thing as much as you can because you want your proficiency to go up so your labor costs go down. Try to work it out with a guildie to process all of their iron ore or all of their logs. If you're on Selphira and you're trying to level, I'll give you some iron ore. You turn that into iron ingots, and then what I'll do is I'll deduct the price of the ore from the ingots, and then whatever's left for the value of the ingots, I'll give you 60% of that. You get 60% of the cut. You get a little coin for your labor, and I get to stock my chest with iron ingots, and I give them out to people for other things. While you're trying to get Patron, try to bank your 2000 XP and open your last vocation quest every day. Getting that free vocation every day is going to give you some small stuff to sell. Right now, just a wild-ass guess for vocation to silver ratio. We worked it out this morning to about 49 silver per vocation. I'm sure that's going to change. Also, do your merit dailies with the ones that have a gold reward. Sometimes you have to port around a little bit or get some of the bigger ones like the world boss ones. A little trick for the 50 gold ones with the world bosses. The CR bosses, they count for world boss in Nuia, Haranya, or Aurora. And the GR bosses will count for Nuia or Haranya because they spawn on both. If you happen to know some high-level people and you get the big one for Serpentis, kill 5 mobs in Serpentis, a high-level character or 2 should be able to run you through that in about 3 minutes. Just kill those first 2 guys in the first room, go into the second room, and just knock it out. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you that there's fast ways to make gold, and absolutely there is. I've seen people come into game and make 20,000 gold in their first 2 weeks. That's because they had amazing luck, they regraded a couple of things, and they were just a big winner. A good friend of mine on Selphira, Saichu, I think if the story I remember is correct, it was like his first month in game, and he regraded an epic sword. That's not going to be you. I don't want to burst your bubble, but if I take 100 people and try them to go down that road, one of them will get that road. Labor is the biggest commodity in the game. Unlike other games where you can do as much as you want for as long as you want, we've talked about labor in a couple of videos now. Labor is your constriction, but you also have time. If you're a free-to-play player, you have time as a commodity. Figure out what works for you. If, like I said, on a Saturday morning, if you can get up and just mine for an hour on EU, that's something not a lot of people are going to do. That's going to generate you raw stone and iron, and it costs you nothing because you're just mining public nodes. Stay away from the toxic people. There's going to be a lot of people that when you ask them for help, they're going to be like, oh, you're not getting 50 silver per labor, you suck, you're a noob, this, that, the other. Ignore them. There was a time in this game where 8.3 silver to 1 labor was considered doing it right. Yes, I can now make a gold per labor. I can make a gold 50 per labor, but that's because I have all the proficiencies at 230k. I've been here for 3 years. Before you get through this time and you get your first month of Patron, do a couple of things. Have your 8x8 garden and have it upgraded to a 16x16. Have your 16x16. If possible, have your Solar Scarecrow farm kit out of the Gilda store shop, and that's going to cost you 300 Gilda, and have a healthy supply of vocation badges. The reason why I say to have all those things is because the moment you put your Patron on, you want to be able to drop property and start making money with it. Now, keeping Patron. Keeping Patron becomes a lot easier than getting Patron. The reason why, if you've been following all the videos, is loyalty. Loyalty tokens generate revenue regardless of what you're doing. So a lot of people tell me, I don't want to log on the EU server, or I don't want to log on the other realms server. That's fine. Don't do it. You don't have to do it, But then don't say, I can't make gold. Because I know people who legitimately hate doing anything on the EU servers. They log in, they get their 5 loyalty tokens, they log out. Periodically, they go on there, they see how many loyalty tokens they have, they sell what they can, they buy an Apex if they can. Medium time equals good results. If you log in and you do something with your labor to burn it, to get vocation, and you just leave your EU account running in the background for the first 3 hours you play, that's 8 loyalty a day instead of 5. That's going to generate you more gold every month. The medium time equals good results. That will generate you more than 1 Apex a month, but it's probably not going to generate you the 2 you need for your patron. And lots of time equals best results. You log in, you do something profitable with your labor, and you get your hourly tokens. This doesn't have to be anything big. There's a couple of places in-game, Mahadevi and Archeage, you can log in, know where your local group of public trees are, run a quick circuit through those public trees, knock them all down, and that's it. You only have to spend a couple of minutes actively playing it. A couple other ones, if you're listening, Villanelle on the road to Mahadevi. There's a ton of trees there now. You can go up to Silent Forest and hit all those old trees. That's a quick way to just burn off your labor and get some wood. So those are just the little things I'm talking about. Do something profitable. Now let's talk about something profitable. There's a couple of things you need to do. You need to find what works. And after you find what works, you always have to make sure that it still works. Before 3.5, when people would come to me and say, Jalan, I need to make gold, I'd say, go to the public 8x8 that I have. It lets you make the Scarecrow Garden Quest items. Go make those items and make gold. I would tell people, buy 1,000 rice off the auction house, 500 garlic, 600 mushrooms, 600 chicken, and then make yourself 20 hearty meals. And just get that stuff out of the way. And before, that was economic. But now, if I were to tell somebody to do that, and they didn't make sure it works, they would have invested 189 gold to buy all the mats to do the quest 20 times, and doing the quest 20 times is only going to give them 100 gold. The big loss on this becomes it generates a Gildastar, but Gildastars have lost their value in everything but large quantities in Gildastar packs. Now, I don't run packs that require Gildastars. Nobody I know runs packs that requires Gildastars. A couple of people are using up their old outdated dust doing it. But here's the thing. You found what works, and while you were trying to make sure it still works, you found something. But you have to know what you found. And what you found is that there's a market for these 4 items. You found a niche that you can pretty easily fill just by providing those bits and pieces. And the big one I'm going to say is rice. Because right now in the 3.5 series, everyone's upset about the trade runs. And I'm going to be putting out a trade run video just as soon as I can chew through some of these other videos I'm doing. Because the trade run system requires larders. Well, we're going to tell you right now that these are the bottleneck in the larder process. The server can't generate enough royal seeds. And on top of that, when we go to a larder, you need 5 lumber, 5 stone, 5 iron, a royal seed, and a gold to make a larder. Right off the bat, the larder is probably costing you 12-ish, 12.5-ish gold. A lot of people refuse to run them. So realize, you could plant singles right now. Plant singles of rice. Get royal seeds. Also get hay. We'll check that real quick while we're here. Hay is about 10 silver a piece. You could be generating gold right now while you're watching this video just by planting rice. Real quick, this little side note, I'm going to drag that off real quick. I'm going to open my bag. I'm going to pull a tree down into it. And if you're watching a video or watching a movie, as you can see, I can just plant here in public. I just wait till my global cooldown is off, then I just hit the number 1 key. I can just plant real quickly. Uh, just don't even, I see people clicking over here. I'm a clicker, but I don't click on my bag. So there you go. Just hit number 1, plant singles, watch a movie. Another one I want to talk about is not just blindly following old strategies. I talk about accumulating 200 loyalty on the Euro server. And generally what you do with 200 loyalty is you just buy 2 Lucky Sun points, sell them. As of whatever day I pulled those numbers, that was 220 gold a piece for a Lucky Sun point. But right now we're in just after the 3.5 patch. Well, Lucid Cynthium stones were 130 a piece. So 40 loyalty times 5 is 200, but at 130 a piece, that's 650 gold. That's 50% more profit just by thinking a little bit. So the ABC principle from economics comes in. Always be checking. Always be checking your numbers. Always be checking. Something as small as, I'm going to switch back here real quick. Something as small as like a 3 gold change in the price of a stack of rice could have a trickle-down effect. And you need to be checking that stuff. You need to be paying attention. If you want to be successful in an MMO with a player-driven economy, you're going to have a basic grasp of Economics 101. For the past couple of weeks, people have been asking me, can you help me make gold? What I've done while helping those people make gold is just ask them some questions about their understanding of economics. And the answers I've been getting back are actually pretty shocking. Some people will come to me and they'll say, Jalon, I found this great way to make gold. And I say to them, don't tell me about it. Just go and do it and tell me how much gold you make in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, they come back and they say, well, I don't understand. I was making money. And I said, probably because you didn't account for all your costs. Well, in economics, costs are one big thing. But for today's video, I want to focus on the 3 steps of manufacturing: raw materials, works in progress, and final form, or final product. Just to get you understanding some concepts, I asked people, what are raw materials? And the answers I got back were worms, cedar trees, seeds, iron ore, raw stone, a couple of others, but I chose these for my examples. The problem is that of that list of 5, there's only 2 true raw materials. Can you get them right? Those are your 2. Worms are not true raw materials. You had to invest in them. You either spent labor to harvest them, and then you spent vocation to even get the worm compost, or you spent gold buying the worms off the auction house. Cedar trees, or any tree for that matter, you either spend vocation or you spend currency. That's if you plant it on your land. We're going to talk about trees a little bit later. Seeds, you spent vocation on them. Whether or not you consider vocation to have value, it has intrinsic value. Now, iron ore and raw stone, public trees, wild plants, all of those things are true raw materials. You have 0 cost if you go out to a mine and you just mine away 5,000 labor. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk you through a flow chart on a Genba walk. It's a Japanese term from economics. I'm going to take you to the place where the money making happens. From some feedback I got from my last video is the last time I put up a graphic, it didn't come through too well on the YouTube video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this document up at the Paradox website. You'll be able to download it. So if you can't see the video in high enough resolution, you'll actually be able to just download the PDF from my website. So this is the example that I've chosen to walk you through, just to show you how things in Archeage work. Now, you'll see at the top, I've used the compost pile and the worm example because a lot of people are telling me, oh, I make money by going fishing. Well, I'm going to challenge you on that. The bottom, I picked cedar trees because cedar trees have kind of become the new stable tree to plant. People are telling me I'm making money selling logs, or I'm making money selling lumber. And I'm going to challenge you on that too. So as we walk through, this slide is going to change a little bit, and I add some details to it. I decided that I'm going to purchase 20 compost piles. at a cost of 1,600 vocation, and I've just put into my bag 7.2 gold worth of value. The day that I put these slides together, I could have sold 20 compost piles for 7.2 gold. But instead I chose to plant those compost piles because I really wanted the worms. Now what I did was I took an average of 50 from each pile, giving me about 1,000 worms. This cost me 300 labor, 15 labor per. Now, at this point, I'm at a decision point. Do I sell the worms on the auction house, or do I invest into my worms a little more and see if I can make more profit? Well, first, I'm going to try to sell the worms on the auction house. And if I sell the worms on the auction house, I'm going to make 21.8 gold profit. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, Jalon, I see 29 gold value in the box. And you're right. You do. Except you have to take away the 7.2 gold that you could have sold the compost piles from. You had potential profit in your hand. You chose to invest more in on it. Now, by selling the worms, you're making about 7.26 silver to labor ratio. This is actually, in my opinion, a really good ratio for a new player. As your farming proficiency were to go up, your silver to labor ratio would go up because your labor cost to gather these would go down. But let's say you didn't want to sell worms. Let's say you wanted to invest some of your labor. So you decide to get a fishing pole and go fishing. And you're going to fish all 1,000 of those worms. And you end up with 1,000, not 1,000 fish. Well, yes, it's 1,000 fish. But I'm going to assume you have enough that you can do 50 processes of Dawn's Lake light and have 50 Dawn Lake essence in your bag. So you spent 5,000 labor fishing. You spend another 500 labor turning that stuff into a sellable item, and you sell those on the auction house for 59.5 gold. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Jalon, that's 59.5 gold. That's the biggest gold value I've seen on the screen. Okay, but I can sell the Dawn's Lake for 59.5, but I have to take away that 7.2 potential for the gold, for the compost piles that I could have sold. And you have to take away the 21.8 gold profit from the worms, because you literally put them on the end of a fishing hook and you threw them away, and you got to fish in exchange for it. So now when you take that Dawn Lake, minus the compost, minus the worm value, you're at 30.5 gold. But look at how much labor you've spent. You've spent 5,500 more labor since this step. You've actually gone from making 7.26 silver to labor to 52 copper to labor. Now, you'll notice I call these investment steps, and this should have been an investment step as well. The first time you fish 1,000 worms, it costs you 5,000 labor. The second time you do it, it costs you 5,000 labor. But when you hit 10K and you can upgrade your proficiency, you're investing in your character. Just keep that in your mind, because we're going to move forward and see if we can make any more profit here. Now, as you see, when I click between these two slides, this box is going to go from blue to red. Means I'm going to bring something up that I can work in with these Dawn Lake, but let's just start here with the cedar tree and let's walk the line. Now, I've had people in recent days tell me, oh, Jalon, I make so much money selling logs. I make so much money selling lumber. Okay. The funny part to that is Paradox started literally in alpha as a lumber company. All we did was plant trees and make lumber. Why? Because at the very beginning of the game, everybody needed 100 lumber to plant that big farm. So I'm going to just go down memory lane and I'm going to think about, can I make money doing lumber today? So I'm going to pick cedar trees. And if you notice, I'm down here on cedar trees, and there's this up arrow that doesn't lead anywhere. Yes, when you plant a tree, you have a chance of getting a thunderstruck. It's such a small chance that don't ever count on one coming. You also have a chance of getting a heavy hardwood. Don't count on getting them. If we counted on those would skew our numbers. It's completely probable that you're going to harvest these trees and not get one. It's completely plausible that you might harvest these trees and get two. So let's just keep everything equal for right now. So to make a stack of lumber, I need 300 logs. Working off of an average, I'm going to need 43 cedar trees, which means I have to invest 10.75 gold into my endeavor. So I plant the trees, and when they're ready, I harvest the trees, and that costs me 430 labor that I get 300 logs for. Like everything, this is a decision point. I can sell the logs on the auction house, or I can turn the logs into lumber. But I can't really sell the logs on the auction house because it costs me 10 3/4 gold, and I'm only going to get 5.5 gold back. So I'm basically forced to this investment step. So now I'm going to invest 500 labor to get 100 lumber. Okay, I'll sell the lumber on the auction house. Except I'm still not going to get back what I paid for the trees. So once again, I'm forced into another investment step. Now, I have to put 300 more labor into this step to get paper. And I'm finally at something that has a profit ratio. The problem is look at how low that profit ratio is. I can make 12.94 gold for selling 2 stacks of paper. When I take away my cedar tree price, I'm left with 2 gold. And all this labor I've invested. 17.8 copper to labor. Yes, I have gotten a lot of proficiency, but it's not helping me make gold. So now the last one, I always have new players coming to me and say, Jalon, I don't know why I'm not making money with Dawn's Lake. Okay, I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to take my Dawn's Lake. And since I have 200 paper, I can match that up with 40 Dawn's Lake. I can make 40 scrolls. And on the day I pulled this data, 40 blank regrade scrolls would have gotten me 64 gold on the auction house. But to make those, I will have expended 7,230 labor. I also now have to take away the compost cost, the worms profit, the cedar trees, and that little bit of paper profit. That knocks me down to 24.25 gold. I can add in the 10 remaining Dawn's Lake, and I get to 50 copper per labor. So at any other step besides the paper, I could have stopped what I was doing and made more gold. Had a higher silver to labor ratio. I literally cannot do 2 of the steps on here. Otherwise, I have thrown money away. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Jalon, there are way too many people selling regrade scrolls, blank regrade scrolls. There's no way that they're just throwing money away. You're right. They're not. But they're not doing it the way you're doing it, or even the way you're going to be able to do it. There is one thing I could tell you right now that would double your profits, instantaneously double your profits. But I'm not going to tell you today. I want to challenge you to really get in there on this blank regrade scroll example, and I want you to find what you could do different to double your profits like that. I am going to show you, though. I'm going to show you how you can cut down on your costs so that you can get just a little bit more bang for your buck, because right now you're broke and you need help. So, as I said, there's got to be a way that people are making their regrade scrolls cheaper. And as you remember from that cedar tree example just a minute ago, I said the reason why cedar trees or that paper and everything was so expensive is because you were spending gold getting the initial 43 trees. Well, if you notice in my chat tab, I'm going to cut down this tree. Actually, I should have shown you guys something else, but so it's a fruited olive tree, and I'm going to go ahead. It tells me 10 labor to gather the fruit. I'm going to gather the fruit, and because I have a high gathering, it only costs me 6. I'll bring up my proficiencies, and I have gathering and logging at max levels. So I got 6 olives. And now I'm going to cut down the tree. It says 15, but it only cost me 9, and I got 4 logs. Now, here's the trick to that. I'm not paying anything for any of this stuff. I'm literally just walking around publicly harvesting. Now, can you support yourself all day, every day doing this? No. I had accidentally turned my mic off when I cut the original footage for this, so I'd already chopped down a lot of trees in a lot of different places. But just go out there and find the trees that you know where there's a big clump, and you'll just be able to start making passive gold. As I told you, iron ore, raw stone, those are things that don't cost you anything as well. There are a ton of mines on both continents. I apologize, Nuians. I don't know your mines. I am going to show everybody, though, the Haranian mines. And you, of course, have the main one here in Arkham that everybody starts with. In Tiger Spine, you have a couple. There's a cave there in Tiger Spine as well. I'm going to clear that now. I'm going to use the red dot to show you in Rookborn. If I zoom into Rookborn, which I can't do with the red dot on, there is a very nice mine in here. You'll get harassed by harpies, but you know you can deal with it. So find yourself somewhere to go. Look at this orange tree. Look at this. I'm just getting trees everywhere. So this is the way that if you're new and you don't have land and you needed to make some quick money or get started, just find all the public stuff. All right, guys, and for your extra credit this week, I want to remind everybody that Paradox is doing another giveaway. We're actually giving out an Apex this time. So on any Archeage 101 video, part 4 or onward, if you ask a question, answer a question, put a comment, keep them non-toxic if you would. I'm going to write down your name. I'm going to add it into the pool of names. And then when the YouTube channel has 200 subscribers, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to raffle off an Apex. It's going to be on either Suroth or Selphira. It's your obligation to be able to get there and apply it to your account, because that's where I happen to have them. And it's coming out of my pocket. I don't get Apex to give away to my viewers. And that's everything I have for you today. I'm Jalan from the Selphira server. If you're on Selphira and you need something, go ahead and send me an in-game message or mail. Check out our website or send me an email to the address below. That's it. Class dismissed. Hey, you. Yes, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Hit that subscribe button. Watch a couple of more videos. Go check out our website.